Hey, thanks for checking out the video today, or tonight actually. I'm going to be installing a Mishimoto intake onto my 2020 WRX. Bear with me here. Hopefully this looks alright because I changed up the camera settings a little bit because the last couple videos I did in the garage, you saw like some black bars going across the screen because of the LEDs. I guess maybe how bright they are or something at certain angles, so it looked kind of weird. But what I'm going to do now, it's actually a used Mishimoto intake. I picked it up for about 150 bucks, and brand new they're 320 with the box. So I got a decent deal on it. I have an access port coming for the car, which, by the way, Mishimoto, straight from them, if you run 93, you can easily run the Mishimoto intake with no tune. So if you're concerned about that, Mishimoto has tested it multiple times, and all their tests were repeatable, and they had no ill effects from the intake on a stock tune. However, obviously running a tune, you're going to see a little bit more power, and it's going to respond a little bit better. Without the tune, the intake does nothing. And by the way, if you're considering buying an intake or not buying an intake, let me just tell you, basically it's a sound maker. A stock intake, most tuners will tell you that they can get you to around 4 to 5 wheel horsepower, 4 to 500 wheel horsepower on the stock intake. So don't think you need an intake to get you more power, because you don't. The stock intake's great. It does make some cool noises, and obviously everyone likes cool noises. So basically it's a sound maker, and once you reach that 4 to 500 power level, it can help a little bit with airflow. But we're going to install it on this today. It should be fairly simple. There's 500 miles on this car, so everything should come apart super easy. We'll get the stock intake out of here. We'll get the new one in, and so let's go. I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial, even though it's pretty self-explanatory, and there's a couple other videos on YouTube, but might as well make it a step-by-step, and then I'm going to go ahead and get some sound clips, and hopefully, you know, you guys like what you hear. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay, real quick before I get started, I just want to mention this to you guys. This right here is called a tack puller. If you haven't seen one before or don't already know, this is like one of the best tools in the world when you're working on a new Subaru like this, because there's so many of those stupid plastic clips. This thing works amazing to get those clips out. But anyways, once you start, you're going to want to jack the car up. Don't have to be stupid high. I got it kind of stupid high, but it don't have to be this high. So once you're under the car, you're going to want to remove these splash guards here. There's a couple little clips going all the way around, and you don't have to take the entire thing out. A lot of people take the whole thing out. You don't have to do that. All you got to do is get access to this bolt right here, which, as you can see, isn't that many clips and bolts. It definitely helps having those tack pullers. But go ahead, pull all this down, and there's your worm gear clamp for the intake. You're going to take this bolt out here to get this this bracket off. So we're going to undo that bolt, take that clamp off, take that clamp off, and then we'll go up to the top. And the only clip you may have trouble finding, if you don't know already, is there's one right up here in the wheel well that's kind of hard to get to. Or it's not hard to get to, but if you don't know where it's at, it's hard to find. But it's in the wheel well here. There's actually one holding the lower splash guard to this, and then the one up top there. So take that out. It'll come down nice and easy. Let's go ahead, pop the hood, and we'll start up at the top. Once you get the bottom loosened up, which I already have, you're going to want to go ahead and take these clips out here. Oh my God, sorry, I need to pause for a second. When I got the Eclipse project, I put a bunch of LED lights in to the garage, and I did not have these lights when I was working on the last WRX. I cannot believe how much I can see now. This is awesome. But anyways, you want to pop this cover off. It's literally just these two clips. It'll lift up and slide out of the intake box. Once that's out, you're going to want to take a 10 millimeter and just bust these two nuts loose. And you can screw them out with your finger, pull them apart. There's also another bolt down there. Take that one out. Go ahead and loosen this air box. First off, unplug this. You'll remove your MAF sensor with the air box, and then take it out once the air box is out. Once you have those two nuts and that bolt taken out, you can just pull this out with no problem. Save that for later. Never sell your stock parts, people. Just keep all your stock parts. You'll thank yourself later for any reason. So if something happens to your car, you can most likely still get the warranty honored if you go ahead and swap back to stock parts, and they'll never know you modded it. But now all we got to do is slide that off the turbo, and slide this off. That bolt we took off down there, we're just going to slide that off, and this whole assembly should lift right out. Okay, now we got our entire assembly out. We're ready to put the new one in. Now that you have your stock intake off, one major thing you don't want to forget to do is you're going to need this piece here. So you already took the nut off this side. Go ahead and now take the 10 millimeter nut off of this side, because we're going to need to put that in here to mount up the intake. All right, so once you take your stock MAF sensor out of your factory intake, you're going to want to put it into the new intake. This actually came with the intake, but I don't know what year this is from or anything. I just want to make sure it's the right one. So I'm going to pull this one out, put my new one in, and plus there could be 100,000 miles on this. I don't know. So I'm going to pull this MAF sensor out, put mine in its place, and we're going to install it into the car just like this. We're going to drop it down from the top, and then we'll connect this side to the turbo. This is already bolted up. We'll put our nut on the other side of this to mount it, and we'll get everything ready to go. All right, you're gonna come under the car again. We're gonna tighten up this clamp here, tighten up this clamp. Don't tighten these up until you got everything lined up. As you can see, the pipe, I actually had to move the hose here to make the pipe line up. Then obviously we have our clamp here again, or our spacer, and both nuts go on. Then we're gonna come back up top, and we're gonna put the box on and install everything. All right, once you have your box in place, I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything, but you're gonna tighten down this bolt here for the intake pipe. I'm gonna try to get that to sit down a little bit lower before I tighten it. And then you'll tighten this here, so just use the two factory nuts that came with this, as well as the factory bolt that was down here. And this should have come with 3 of these, the Allen key bolts for the top for the lid, and it should have came with a bolt for back here, but mine didn't. Like I said, I bought mine used, but I did find a bolt that fit that, so I went ahead and put that in. But yours, if you buy a new one, should come with that bolt, and that'll go back here behind this hole. And so I'm gonna go ahead, tighten these 10 millimeters down, plug the MAF sensor back in, clean everything up, and put the intake in. We'll drop that in, slide it over the pipe, bolt it down, or tighten it down, tighten the clamp down, put the lid on, seal the lid up, and then we'll put the same process. We'll slide that back in and put the clamps back on it. All right, so the box is on, the intake duct is back in. It's pretty simple, really simple install. So obviously it's a used unit. I mean, it doesn't look perfect. There's some sticker residue from a parent sticker I got to get off there, but I can clean it up. I actually replaced the Allen keys that came with, or the not the Allen keys, but the bolts with the Allen heads that come with this. I don't like them because they strip out pretty easy, so I went ahead and put my own 10 millimeter bolts in there, so it's good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically work in reverse, put everything back together up underneath, and we'll take her out for a spin. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get some sound clips of it in the car. It definitely sounds way nicer than stock, so it's awesome for the sound, that's for sure. So if you plan on running just like a stage 1 tune, no exhaust, and just want a little bit more power, go ahead, get yourself an intake and run a stage 1 plus intake map. You won't be disappointed. You'll get good sound out of it and some extra power. See if I can get the sound again from over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and try and get a clip with the windows down. Actually hear it outside the car pretty good for having a stock non-vented blow-off valve. You hear the blow-off pretty good, as well as the intake induction noise, so it sounds pretty sweet. All right, guys, that's going to be it. We have installed the Mishimoto intake. So the access port will be here soon, and we'll get a tune thrown on this thing. And I'm hoping we get a Pro Tune sometime soon, like really soon. That'd be great. So there it is, your noisemaker. It definitely does sound good. So I have no beef with anyone that buys one just for the noise. They sound great. If you can get yourself a good deal on one, do it. So that's it, guys. it's on, it's installed. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Please leave me some feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next video.